let's work on the different types of, maybe I will not say challenges, rather I will not even say bottlenecks also, but these are the things that every writer face in their life. Okay, doesn't matter how big a writer you are or how a smaller writer you are. Okay, so few things are always there. These things are always going to happen in your whenever you're writing something. So whenever you are creating a content, please make sure that you follow few rules. Okay, when we talk about the rules, there are three types of processes. Okay, first is your pre-writing, second is your writing, and third is your post-writing. Okay, now here I'm going to just describe these things in short. We are going to learn about them in our upcoming modules. Okay, first is your pre-writing process. Okay, pre-writing process is where you are going to do most of your research. Okay, now when we talk about research are your three types again. Okay, first one is your expert research. Okay, now expert research means you will include suggestions, inputs, feedbacks, etc. from the expert in a particular field. Okay, now you can search for that expert on, maybe you have a direct relation, maybe, okay, or maybe through LinkedIn, through Google, anywhere, through any search engine. Okay, so you can search for their contact details. You can reach out to through emails, through messages, through phone numbers, WhatsApp, however you want to. Okay, so that is your expert research. Now, for example, if I am using some experts information, expert suggestion in my content, how am I going to use them? Okay, suppose I'm using their information here. So I've written the information what the expert has given me. Okay, that information I'm using it. Now I am going to give the due credit to that expert. This is one of the ethics that I'm always going to follow whenever I'm including their inputs. Okay, so suppose if that experts, say I'll say Miss Riya Sharma. So I'm just giving a normal, some random name. Okay, now maybe she's a director of a company. So director of ABC company. Okay, so this is how I am going to give due credit to that expert. Okay, or there is one more way that I can write. So I can say, in the words, or I can say according to Miss Riya Sharma, okay, director of ABC company, and then I am going to write that information here. Okay, that information will be written here. Okay, so this is how I am going to include the expert research. Okay, next is your book research. So book research is there. Here you are going to include things. You're going to take information from books are there, novels, textbooks, all these things. Then articles from newspapers, magazines. Then you have your research papers. Then you might have white papers. Then you can have documents. Okay, basically all the things that are printed. Okay, then finally is your digital research. Okay, digital research is you are going to do it through search engines, websites are there. Okay, then you have social media platforms. Then you have forums, portals are there. Okay, these are your part of digital research. Okay, now if you're taking information from any of the, maybe some blog is there, you want to take that part that particular paragraph as it is. So you are going to copy the paragraph and then you are going to cite the source. So suppose you have copied that paragraph from there. Okay. Copied paragraph is there. Okay. Then you are going to write it like this, source in bracket. Okay. And then you are going to give the link. Okay, this is what is your, how you are going to include any type of information. If you are going to copy the paragraph, okay, then you have to give the link. Otherwise Google bots will come to know that you have copied a content from somewhere and you have not given the due credit. Okay, you have not given the link of that credit, so they are going to penalize your content. Okay, clear for everyone now? Pre-writing process, you have your research and your formatting. Formatting we have already discussed. Okay, introduction and all these things we will discuss about what you are going to include later on. Okay, this is the type of research. White papers are basically these are the papers that the companies come up with regarding some of the policies. Okay, CSR, especially these white papers are written, they are written for other purposes also, but companies, they come up with white papers because of their some of the CSR policies, so corporate social responsibilities. Okay, so these policies are there. Now whenever they take up a new CSR policy, they write these white papers. These white papers are basically something like a case study. So why they have come up with CSR policies, what will happen now, who all are the beneficiaries now, how they are going to maintain the CSR policy. Okay, all these things are included in that white paper. These white papers are, a lot of them are factual in information. Factual means they use a lot of statistical data, numbers there. Okay, to produce a good what should I say, a support system to why they have taken up this action. Okay, so these are your white papers. These white papers are very target specific. Now suppose for example, if a company is coming up with a cancer wing in a particular hospital, okay, they have donated some of the amount, or rather they want to build a cancer wing in a hospital. So now who are their target audience? The hospital, doctors, the NGOs who are associated with this particular topic. Okay, the government institutes. Okay, and the patients. People like you and me who are not associated with this disease, or rather the hospital itself, we are not their target audience. Okay, clear for everyone now? Whenever you are including expert research, you have to cite the name of that expert. Now it is not always possible whenever you're writing a story, okay, because you cannot write in between from where you got the information. Then you have your bibliography, maybe you have your appendix. That time you cannot say in your stories you have that acknowledgement or the thanks notes, right? So that time you can acknowledge that person and you can talk about it. But whenever you're getting information from say a particular source, maybe a book or maybe a link, that time you can put that information under the appendix of your books. Okay, it can be a fictional book, it can be a non-fictional book. For non-fictional books, it is always important to include an appendix. Okay, where whatever information, whatever maybe some say extra books that you want your readers to read, you can put all those links or the names of the books or articles under that appendix. Okay, now whenever you're working on a maybe on a content, any type of material, any type of written material, please do a good research. Go and read out the blogs, articles, go and read books, go and talk to other people. What do they think about a particular topic? Okay, think of a very attractive H1s. Very important. Your titles are very important. I told you earlier also, titles make a lot of difference whether your book is going to be picked up from the shelf or not. Okay, same with your blogs also. So if you want people to read your blogs and articles, you have to tell them, or rather you have to show how attractive your titles are. Okay, until and unless they don't get attracted to your title, they're not going to read the content under it.
Okay, whenever you're writing a content, it can be a story, it can be a blog or an article or a paper, always make sure that you create a consistency in your content. Okay, very very important, that consistency. If unnecessarily you're including lots of information, that is going to confuse your audience. If unnecessarily you're including a lot of characters or maybe situations, or the scene is too long, it will either bore your audience or it will confuse them. They might not they might not read your content further. So make sure that all these things are covered before writing a story. Especially work on a plot. In this full course, we will be working on plots. Okay, plots are necessary for you, they are not for anyone else. Whenever you're creating a plot, make sure the whole summary of your story is in the plot. Okay, so even if you're coming after maybe after today you have written some part of your story. Okay, now after a month or maybe 2 months you didn't get any time, so again after 2 months if you're coming back, that plot is ready for you. Okay, so you can just look back at your plot, understand, okay fine, this is what I was supposed to do, and then you can continue. Okay, also plot gives a lot of consistency to your stories, to your content. It's because unnecessarily you will not add any type of details or any other characters which is not required in the story. Okay, so these things are very very important whenever you are working on a content. Now let us work on the post writing. Post writing means your content is ready, your story is ready, your blog or article is ready. Now what? There is something called as editing. Editing are again of three types. Okay, so write it down for you all. Now when we talk about editing, so first is your developmental editing. Next one is your read through, or it can also be called as a grammar check. Okay, and then finally you have beta edit. Okay, now these type of editings are very important whenever you are working on stories, fictional stories, you're working on books. Okay, for your blogs and articles, because they are for 500 words, 1000 words. So that time a normal editing, just look at the words, look at the sentence structure, understand the consistency, whether you have written a focused content or not, remove any unnecessary information. For that it will not take you more than half an hour to 15 to 30 minutes. Okay, it will not take you more than that. But whenever you are editing a book, now these there are in publishing houses. Okay, they have editors for each and every type of editing here. Okay, so there are developmental editors, there are read through editors, there are beta editors also. Now what basically are these editings? When we talk about developmental editing, under developmental editing, you go and read your book or read your whole content and understand if there is any requirement to change the details that you have included in your stories. Okay, now whenever we work on all these type of editings, that time you have something called as the 3 R's. Okay, 1 second. Okay, first one is okay, let me write it down here. Restructuring. Restructuring means, suppose there's a good structure in your content. Okay, structure means the characters are introduced in the plot, and then you will work on the characters are, you will work on their life, and then finally there is a drama in your story. Then the drama unfolds, there is a conflict then, and then the characters they overcome the conflict, and finally the ending. Okay, now maybe there are some twists and some twists that are there in your stories, and you want to restructure. That means you want to change some structure. So that time you are going to change your structure. That means the flow of the content. Okay, that is your restructuring. Okay, clear? Now comes your reworking. Reworking means Now, because your structure is changed, you have changed your structure again. Okay, so you might have to add some, maybe some information. Maybe you want to add a scene, you want to add any character, any extra character. So all these are your reworking. Okay, then you're recreating. When we talk about recreating, now whatever characters or these scenes or extra information that you have added, okay, you have to work on that. So maybe whenever I'm working on my story, there is one character that I have included later on, after all the content is, after all the story is created, after that I added one extra character. Now I have to recreate that character and some of the scenes, how to fit that character in the story now. Okay, so that means I might change some of the parts of the content. Okay, and recreate them. Clear now for everyone what is restructuring, reworking, and recreating? Now, when we talk about the next stage, so first stage is a developmental editing. Okay, now in the next stage, we are going to work on the grammar. Okay, that is why it is called as a read through. Here you are going to check the grammar, the sentence structures, the vocabulary of your content. All these things you are going to check here. Okay, now why is it at the second stage? Now here, because you are going to add or you are going to delete some of the extra information from your content. Okay, so during this stage you're not going to work on the editing part, on the grammar part. Okay, there are few things that you're going to add, there are few things that you're going to delete. So that is why the grammar check is going to be there on the second stage of the editing. Here grammar you're not going to look at. Okay, clear for everyone? So here you're going to check the words, vocabulary, sentence structures, some type of information that people don't understand, so you can add some extra details there so that people can easily understand what you're talking about here. Okay, so that is your read through. Next comes your beta editing. Beta editing is a very important part. Now, beta editing, you can do it self. Okay, either you can give it to your friends or your family, or your colleagues, anyone. Okay, now this editing is what basically you read your content, your stories, your books from the eyes, from the perspective of your readers. Okay, how your readers will feel, will they experience, how their experience will be while reading your book. Okay, that is called as beta editing. Many writers, they don't do their beta editing themselves, they either send it to their publishers. Publishers have dedicated beta editors. Okay, so these beta editors are the one who understand the audience. Doesn't matter the age of the audience. If you're writing a story for kids, okay, so for kids also, they understand what type of stories kids are reading. Okay, what type of content kids want to read. So this is called as beta editing. Clear for everyone now?